Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Battle video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at what you should currently be doing with part 1 of the worldwide celebration in DBZ Dokkan Battle. Now the part 1 of the celebration is obviously a decent chunk of the way in, and we'll talk about when part 2 is, but plenty of the content dropped and we want to take a look at exactly what you can do to enjoy the game and also farm some dragon stones, and also just look at the various options players have before them. So let's start with some of the stuff that players need to get out the way that they'll probably need to do for part 2. So speaking of that, we're looking at the Super Warrior Memorial and also the update to the Trunks event. Both of these dropped free-to-play characters, and both of these will probably get an easy A in part 2, and it's very likely that they will be needed to get some of the tickets. So if you're someone who wants to get the 50 special summon tickets, I highly suggest you make sure that you have these guys ready. I have done a video on these events. You need to get them to SA10, you need to open up their hidden potential systems. Make sure that you do this, because they're going to be needed for the 50 special summon tickets. Don't be taken by surprise. Don't try and then rush and do it all in 2 days when the tickets come out and feel like you're shortchanged. Prep now. It will happen. It's going to happen. Rather be ahead of the curve. Make sure you're doing the growth events every day. The equipment events obviously up every 7 days, but make sure that you always do these events on cooldown. Basically is kind of a statement I should be saying. Not only do you have a great way to earn skill orbs, which you need to beef up some of the characters you've pulled, but also you have the chance to obtain 3 stones per day from the Search of the Light of Hope event, which is going to be an event that's, again, also going to add up over time. It may not feel like a lot every day, but if you do it every day, you'll have a lot of stones, so it's one of those situations. Continue to also do the other growth events. They will help you, and of course, I would say if you're a new player, the hidden potential events probably something to consider as well, considering you probably don't have a lot of hidden potential orbs, and this is a great way to catch up on those, especially if you're brand new or resetting your account or whatever the story is. Now, let's talk Ultimate Clash, because Ultimate Clash is quite difficult, and although I want to talk about all the other difficult content and the order in which to do things, Ultimate Clash is something that's due for expiry, not immediately, but I do suggest that you look at it. I have a guide on how to beat it, and it's going to drop a lot of stones, so it is a great way to earn rewards, even as a new player. Now let's talk about what else you should be doing, because it's difficult with so much going on to actually anticipate what to do. Now if you're a new player, or if you're someone who's returning, or etc., make sure that you start awakening your characters. All the Dokkan events are currently up. You're going to be pulling plenty of DFEs off of all the ticket banners, summons, etc. So try to do your best to basically awaken all those characters. It's very important, and you're going to need them to take on a lot of the content. In the same way with Extreme Z areas, these are great ways not only to earn stones, but also to upgrade your characters. Every single Extreme Z battle is currently open, so if you're a new player, try and push as far as you can in every single one. Even getting to level 5 nets you 5 stones. So think about that. If you do all 50 or whatever to level 5, that's 250 stones. Alternatively as well, if you're a returning player, there's plenty of great easy A's you're probably missing out on. So make sure that you get these done so that you can upgrade your characters to take on all the challenge events that have been coming out. Now, speaking specifically of story events, before we talk about challenge events, there's not too many that are notable. I will say 2 things though. I think firstly, you want to focus on collecting some free-to-play units, predominantly from the future-based events. It's very likely you may need some of these, so I will suggest that you grab a couple of them, just in case you need them for things like Extreme Z areas or easy-aing the current units, and starting with things like the Fight Against Despair or Hope Fight Against Despair is a great choice. Secondly, there are some events right now that are dropping currency that will net you some Elder Kais, and you can also look at using events to increase the SA of current units. So make sure you do a good scan through them. I'll do a video on which ones you can use, but yeah, right now it's very important to keep that in mind. So now we'll talk about challenge events. So a great one to start off with is the Divine Wrath and Mortal Will. Not only is it a bit easier than some of the other challenge events, but it's also quite accessible and, drops some decent rewards. 4 stones per stage may not seem like a lot, but again, it's another 16 stones in total. I also think it's a good introduction to hard content. It doesn't really require super specific team builds and more just generic strong builds. Outside of that, if you're a brand new player, you have plenty challenge content. Try starting with things like Super Battle Road. If you're a bit more of a veteran, there's plenty of new Red Zone missions, new Fighting Legend Goku missions, and new Fighting Legend Vegeta missions that are going to be great for you. If you're also alternatively new or missed quite a bit of content, there's a couple of Extreme Z areas that you're going to want to keep your eyes out of. And also, as well, on top of that, you are going to want to consider looking and going through and checking for any Dokkan events that you've missed. Now, the final thing that I would like to mention when we talk about content and stones and things like that are 2 specific events. So the Support Memory Boost event and the 8th Anniversary event. Both of these are fairly new, and returning players and new players may not pick on them so much, but they're great sources of stones and upgrades to support memories, which can help you in all of the other events. So please make sure that you do them. Outside of that, that's honestly it. That covers pretty much everything you need to know about what you should be doing before Part 2 and what you should currently be doing in Part 1. It also gives you an idea of where you can get stones from. And special mention to the Dokkan Battle Boss Rush. Although I didn't receive an update, it's still a great place, especially for returning players, to scout out for some stones. There will have been new stages added. Remember to add in and summon with your tickets when you get them. Alternatively, you can use them on big pulls, or you can just use them as you acquire them. But it's also still going to be great to pick up some units along the way. You never know, pulling on the tickets now might allow you to grab some pretty good value. And finally, make sure that you're keeping up to date with your 50 special summon tickets. That's it from me. Bye.